What if the most profound transformation of your life begins not with action, but with surrender? What if the key to unlocking hidden wisdom lies in hanging upside down, suspended between heaven and earth, and seeing the world through inverted eyes? This is the mystery of the hangman, the most paradoxical card in the tarot, a symbol of voluntary sacrifice, radical perspective shifts, and the quiet power of letting go. At first glance, the hangman unsettles us. He dangles by 1 foot from a living tree, his free leg crossed in repose, his face serene as if privy to a secret the rest of the world cannot see. Many mistake this card for a warning of suffering or stagnation, but its true meaning's far more sublime. The hangman is an invitation to transcend the illusion of control, to dissolve the ego's grip, and to embrace the sacred pause where true enlightenment begins. In this video, we'll unravel the esoteric secrets of the hangman, exploring its roots in ancient mythology, its connection to shamanic rituals, and its urgent relevance to our modern lives. You'll discover how this card mirrors the spiritual journeys of Odin, Siddhartha, and even quantum physics, and how its lessons can help you navigate uncertainty, release outdated patterns, and awaken to a higher vision of your purpose. By the end, you'll not only understand the hangman's symbolism, but also learn practical rituals to harness its wisdom. Are you ready to invert your perspective and see the world as the hangman does? To understand the hangman, we must journey back through time to the crossroads of myth, religion, and mysticism, where the act of suspension was not a punishment, but a portal to divine revelation. In Norse mythology, the hangman echoes the story of Odin, the All-Father, who hung himself from the world tree, Yggdrasil, for 9 days and nights. Pierced by his own spear, he starved and sacrificed his physical form to gain the secrets of the runes, the primal language of creation. His ordeal was not suffering for suffering's sake. It was a deliberate surrender to the unknown, a death of the old self to resurrect as the seer of all realms. Similarly, in Hinduism, the tantric traditions speak of urdhvaretas, ascetics who invert their bodies in meditation to reverse the flow of energy, transmuting base desires into spiritual awakening. The hangman's posture mirrors this deliberate inversion, a symbolic act of redirecting consciousness from the material to the celestial. Even Christianity holds traces of this archetype. Saint Peter, crucified upside down, chose humility over worldly power, embodying the hangman's lesson that true sovereignty lies in surrender. The card's imagery also draws from medieval alchemy, where the solve et coagula principle, dissolve and reconstitute, required the alchemists to hang their mind between opposites, fire and water, chaos and order, death and rebirth. The hangman's tree, often depicted with 12 branches, mirrors the zodiac, symbolizing the soul's journey through time and space, suspended yet eternally connected to cosmic cycles. But why this fixation on inversion? Across cultures, hanging upside down represents a rupture in perception. Just as a bat sees the world inverted to navigate the dark, the hanged man invites us to question our assumptions, to let go of linear logic, and to perceive reality through the lens of the soul. This is not passivity, it is active receptivity, the art of gaining wisdom by releasing control. In the tarot's major arcana, the hanged man sits between death, transformation, and temperance, balance, teaching us that true change requires a pause, a sacred limbo where old paradigms dissolve and new visions crystallize. His serenity amidst suspension whispers an ancient truth. Sometimes the deepest progress feels like stillness. Part 1. The hanged man is a mirror held up to the soul, reflecting a truth that defies logic. Surrender is not weakness, it is alchemy. To decode this card, we must dissect its symbols, each a doorway to deeper understanding. Let's begin with the tree from which the hangman dangles. Unlike the gallows of execution, this tree is alive, its roots unseen, but nourished by the waters of the subconscious. In tarot, trees often symbolize the axis mundi, the cosmic pillar connecting heaven, earth, and the underworld. The hanged man's tree is both his prison and his portal. By binding himself to it, he becomes a bridge between realms, his body a pendulum swinging between action and stillness, knowing and unknowing. Next, observe his posture. One leg is loosely bound, the other bent in a relaxed, almost meditative pose. His arms are often clasped behind his back, forming a triangle, an ancient symbol of fire, aspiration, and the trinity of body, mind, and spirit. This is not the tense contortion of a victim, but the deliberate stillness of a sage. His inversion mirrors the bat, a creature of intuition that thrives in darkness by reorienting its view. The hangman asks, "What might you see if you dared to look at your life upside down?" Then there's his halo, glowing gold around his head. In religious iconography, halos signify enlightenment, a direct link to the divine. But here, the halo is not above him. It emanates from him. This subtle detail reveals the card's central lesson. Wisdom arises not from striving toward the light, but from recognizing the light already within. The hangman's surrender is not resignation. It is a radical act of self-trust, a choice to let the inner compass guide when the outer world spins into chaos. The number 12, assigned to the hangman in the major arcana, is equally significant. 12 is the number of cosmic order, the zodiac signs, the hours of day and night, the disciples of Christ. Yet the hangman disrupts this order, hanging in the void between the 11th card, justice, and the 13th, death. He exists in the liminal, the threshold where logic fails and intuition speaks. His number whispers, "To reclaim your power, you must first relinquish control." But what does this mean in practice? Consider the quantum physicist suspended between particle and wave, unable to define light's nature until the act of observation collapses its possibilities. The hangman is that moment of suspension, the breath before measurement, the space where dogma dissolves and revelation dawns. He teaches that clarity comes not from forcing answers, but from resting in the question. Yet this card is often misunderstood as passive. In truth, the hangman embodies wu-wei, the Taoist principle of action through non-action. Imagine a trapeze artist releasing the bar mid-air. The moment of surrender is not defeat, but the necessary pause before grasping the next swing. Similarly, the hangman's stillness is dynamic, a recalibration of energy. His lesson? When you stop pushing against the river, you learn to flow with it. Part 2. The hangman's paradox deepens when we confront its shadow, the fine line between sacred surrender and self-imposed martyrdom. To wield this card's power, we must navigate its dual nature, the razor's edge where enlightenment and entrapment meet. Consider the rope that binds the hangman's ankle. In some tarot decks, it appears knotted and rough. In others, it's a golden chain. This duality reflects a critical choice. Is the binding a prison of our own making, or a conscious tether to higher truth? The rope symbolizes attachment to outcomes, identities, or beliefs. The hangman challenges us to ask, what are you clinging to that no longer serves your soul? His suspension is not eternal. It's a chrysalis phase. Like a butterfly mid-metamorphosis, he reminds us that stagnation is only temporary if we release the need to force transformation. Now observe the expression on the hangman's face. In the Rider-Waite deck, he is calm, almost smiling, a stark contrast to the chaotic energy of cards like the Tower or the Devil. Yet in darker decks like the Thoth Tarot, his face twists in agony, blood rushing to his head. This split mirrors life's dualities, peace and pain, freedom and constraint. The hanged man does not deny suffering. He transmutes it. His lesson here is akin to the Buddhist concept of dukkha, the truth that suffering arises from attachment and liberation comes through letting go. But how do we distinguish surrender from resignation? The answer lies in the water pooling beneath him in many depictions. Water in tarot symbolizes the subconscious, emotions, and intuition. The hangman dangles above this abyss, not drowning in it. He teaches us to observe our emotional currents without being swept away, to become the witness, not the victim. This is the practice of Vipassana meditation, where stillness reveals the impermanent nature of thoughts and feelings. A lesser-known aspect of the hangman is his connection to time. Unlike the Fool, card 0, who leaps impulsively, or the Chariot, card 7, who charges forward, the hangman exists outside linear time. His number 12 reduces numerologically to 3, 1 plus 2 is 3, the number of creativity and synthesis. Here, time bends, past regrets and future anxieties dissolve, leaving only the fertile void of the present. In quantum terms, he embodies superposition, a state of infinite potential where all outcomes coexist until consciousness collapses them into reality. Yet the hanged man also carries a warning. Inverted, he can signify spiritual bypassing, using enlightenment as an excuse to avoid action or responsibility. Imagine a person staying in a toxic relationship, justifying it as surrendering to the universe. The hanged man shakes his head. True surrender requires discernment. It is not apathy but alignment, a release of ego-driven control to act in harmony with higher wisdom. To embody the hanged man is to become the pendulum at rest. A pendulum's power lies not in its swing, but in its stillness. Only when motionless can it accurately measure truth. Similarly, when we pause, whether in meditation, crisis, or creative block, we recalibrate. The hangman's inversion is a sacred reset, a chance to see our lives not as a problem to solve, but as a mystery to behold. At conclusion, the hangman does not dangle in the void. He floats in the eye of the storm, where chaos and clarity merge into revelation. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered the card's timeless secrets: surrender as strength, inversion as insight, and stillness as the crucible of transformation. To recap, the hanged man teaches that true power lies in release, not control. His inverted posture mirrors ancient rites of passage, from Odin's sacrifice to the alchemist's pause. Practical techniques like the inversion ritual and sacred pause meditation help us embody his wisdom in daily life. But the hanged man's ultimate lesson is this: the universe rewards those who dare to wait. In a world obsessed with speed and certainty, his serenity is rebellion. He whispers that the answers we seek are not out there. They arise when we stop chasing, quiet the mind, and let life unfold through us, not just to us. As you close this video, I leave you with a challenge. The next time you feel stuck, whether in a relationship, a creative block, or a spiritual dry spell, ask yourself, what would the hanged man see here? Could your frustration be an invitation to pivot your perspective, to surrender the illusion of control, and to trust the intelligence of the unseen? If this exploration resonated with you, smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into Tarot's hidden wisdom. Share your thoughts below. Have you drawn the hanged man in a reading? How has surrender shaped your spiritual journey? Let's build a community of conscious seekers. And remember, the greatest mysteries are not solved, they are surrendered to. The hanged man's rope is not a chain, it's a lifeline to the infinite. Grab hold and let go and see where the void carries you. Until next time, stay curious, stay still, and keep inverting.